I'm Josh, and today I'm here with Danny to discuss the movie The Fighting Seabees, which came out in 1944 and was directed by Edward Ludwig. The movie is completely in black and white and stars the infamous John Wayne acting as Lieutenant Wedge Donovan.
The movie was about the construction battalion, also known as the Seabees, that worked on the island of Hawaii during World War II before Pearl Harbor. Throughout the movie, Lieutenant Wedge Donovan showed the strength of his battalion by going against orders of Lieutenant Commander Robert Yarrow, who told him and his battalion to stay put and not get involved with war. Donovan got his battalion to fight against the Japanese and protect the island of Hawaii.
Donovan often disagreed with Lieutenant Commander Robert Yarrow, played by Dennis O'Keefe. Early on, both Robert and Wedge tried to show who had more power by both giving commands based on what they believed was the right move. But later, everything gets better.
Historically, the Fighting Seabees focuses on a very specific group during the war, the construction battalion under the Navy. The movie takes place on an island in the Pacific for the most part. It leaves out the wartime events of the U.S. elsewhere. There is also the portrayal of the Japanese as an enemy to the American Seabees, but this movie only provides a small glimpse into the U.S.'s situation during the Second World War.
Danny, I agree with you. The movie does not present any other problems or situations that the U.S. was facing during the war. Although the movie is centered around the Seabees, there are many different groups of U.S. Seabees that the movie neglects to mention. So Danny, what did you think overall about The Fighting Seabees?
After watching the movie, I thought that the actors and actresses casted did very well in their respective roles. The plot was interesting, but the movie is a little slow to build up in the beginning. The film had its funny moments and some lacking moments, and there are parts that felt sort of out of place. As for its realisticness, historically, the directors did a good job of portraying the Seabees and their duties during the war. How about you, Josh?
I thought the film was pretty good in terms of acting. Historical accuracy, I feel, was considered, but not a priority when making the film. The storyline was very biased for the U.S. and rather racist toward the Japanese, which is understandable due to the time period the movie was made in. Let's talk about the positives and negatives.
Okay, for me, a positive of this movie was the acting, as John Wayne and Dennis O'Keefe put a lot of emotion into their parts and made the movie all the more authentic. The combat scenes between the Seabees and the Japanese were also very intense, and I commend the efforts that it took to coordinate a large group to fight each other. But above all else, I think that the part of Eddie Powers, played by William Frawley, was a great part of the cast because of his cheery spirit and sing-songy attitude that anybody would find entertaining.
Yes, I agree with your points, but for me the best parts of the movie were the war scenes and the special effects of explosions. They looked real, and I thought all of the war scenes were realistic. There were real sounds during these scenes, and they looked like complete chaos. Also, it was interesting to hear the characters' accents and the way they talked. They said things like, "How do you do, gentlemen?" and "Take baby Snugs out to buy her a popsicle," which aren't really said nowadays. Now on to the negatives. This was the first time I've ever seen a black and white movie, so that was kind of different. The plot was, however, pretty predictable for me. They would play intense music during the wars, and soft romantic music during the lovey-dovey scenes. How about you, Danny?
I agree with the points that you brought up, Josh. Sometimes it was hard to catch what they were saying, but that's understandable, since the film was made in 1944. The plot was very generic, as there was a war hero and a lover, something that is still played out in today's movies. The movie also wasn't spot on from a historical standpoint. For example, in the movie, Donovan, an ordinary construction boss, commands his men to arm themselves, while in real life, only Civil Engineer Corps officers were given that privilege. Overall, I would give the film a 7 out of 10. Watch this movie if you're curious about World War II, but I would advise against watching it if you are a war movie enthusiastic.
I would give this movie an 8 out of 10 just because I thought it was well done for it being such an old movie. I would recommend watching this movie to anyone interested in an old movie and someone that wants to see how life was for the Seabees during World War II. Thanks for watching our movie review.